Hi guys, and welcome back to Drive to School Chat and to this journey towards excellent exam results. Now, two questions for you. The first one, dead organisms, so animals and plants that are dead, are they abiotic or abiotic? And then the second question is, how do biotic and abiotic factors interact within a biome to create a balance or a state of equilibrium here on Earth? Now, today, I'd like us to talk about the interaction between biotic and abiotic factors in a biome. Now, let's start off then by discussing what biotic factors are. And as the name suggests, biotic, obviously, from the word biology, and we know that biology is the study of plants and animals, then biotic factors within a biome then are the living part of that particular biome. So they will that living part will include plants, which are referred to as flora. It will include animals, which are referred to as fauna, and then it will also include microorganisms such as bacteria. Now, obviously, the bacteria has a function within that particular biome or that particular ecosystem, because it's responsible, or the bacteria are responsible rather, for breaking down the plants and animals once they die. All right, what about abiotic factors? So obviously the abiotic factors are the non-living part of a biome. And these obviously include the sun, which is the main source of energy. And then we have the atmosphere, we have water, and of course we know that the water source is precipitation. And then we also have the rocks and the soils in those particular biomes. Now, a very important thing to note, obviously, is that it's the interaction between the biotic factors and the abiotic factors that allow biomes to function. The next thing that I'd like us to talk about is the role of the sun and photosynthesis. So, obviously, the sun is the main source of energy, and we know that the plants are going to absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and then they will also use the sunlight for photosynthesis. So the sun obviously here being abiotic and the plants being biotic, then that energy from the sun is going to be used in the process of photosynthesis by the plants to produce carbohydrates. Now, those carbohydrates obviously are food for the plant and are what is going to allow that plant to grow or to develop. Then, as a byproduct, those plants are then going to give off oxygen into the atmosphere. Now, as we can see, obviously, there is then an interaction between those plants and the atmosphere. In that, the plants are taking carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and then they are giving off oxygen into the atmosphere, and then the energy of the sun as well is coming into play, which is abiotic, and obviously that is showing that there is an interaction between those biotic and abiotic factors. So without the sun, plants would not grow, and then without the plants, most of the life on Earth would not be able to survive. So that interaction then is really, really important between those biotic and abiotic factors. The next thing that I'd like us to talk about is the gas exchange between plants, animals, and the atmosphere. And as we have mentioned, the plants take carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and use it in the process of photosynthesis. And then the animals in turn, and of course the plants will give off oxygen after they have taken in the carbon dioxide. And then the animals are going to take in oxygen from the atmosphere and then give off carbon dioxide. Through this exchange of gases, the plants and the animals create a balance here on Earth. So that is in terms of regulating the balance of gases within the atmosphere, and also regulating the temperatures here on Earth, because we know that if we have excess carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, then that is going to cause the planet to get warmer, and therefore by those plants taking in carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, then they are creating a balance. So these interactions then help regulate the atmosphere, which then brings us to the initial question that I asked about how abiotic and abiotic factors interacting creates a balance here on Earth. And obviously, they are creating a balance in the composition of the atmosphere, because the plants are taking in carbon dioxide and giving off oxygen, and then the animals are taking in uh, oxygen and giving off carbon dioxide. So they are maintaining a balance in the atmosphere or in the air. Then the other thing that they are doing as well is that they are also ensuring that the temperatures here on Earth are maintained, because we know that if there is an excess amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, then that obviously is a form of greenhouse gas and will lead to the Earth warming up. So this interaction between biotic and abiotic factors creates a balance in terms of regulating the composition of the atmosphere, and also regulating temperature here on Earth. All right, the next thing I'd like us to talk about is energy flows within the food web. Now, we know that the energy from the sun does not remain in the plants, but that energy is going to be transferred from the plants to animals. And we did mention that plants are what are referred to as primary producers. So the next link in the chain from the primary producer is then the herbivores. And the herbivores are those animals that eat the plants or rely on the plants for their food. Then those herbivores are then eaten by the carnivores, which are obviously the animals that eat other animals. And then eventually those plants and animals are going to die. And when they die, they are going to be decomposed by the detritivores. So the detritivores include fungi, they include bacteria and other microorganisms that will break down the plants and animals that have now died. And then that broken down material is going to go into the soil. And then, of course, we know that that then forms organic matter within the soil that makes the soil fertile, and then that soil then supports plant growth. So we can see that a chain here has formed, and that chain is between the plants, the animals, the decomposers or the detritivores, and the soil. And obviously this again is an interaction between the biotic and the abiotic part of the biome or ecosystem. So what is the role of rocks and weathering? Now we know that the rocks will be broken down through the weathering process, and there are three weathering types that we can discuss here. One being biological weathering, then we have physical weathering, and we have chemical weathering. And we know that as those rocks are broken down, they are going to release minerals into the soil. So they are likely to release, like phosphates into the soil, magnesium into the soil. Now, that magnesium and phosphates and other, obviously, minerals that are being released are going to increase the fertility of the soil. And those nutrients will be taken up by plants, and those plants will then grow. Then the plants will then be eaten by the animals. This is another interaction between rocks, soil, and plants. The next thing that we will talk about is the water cycle within a biome. Now, like we mentioned earlier, the water within the biome normally comes from precipitation. Now, when that precipitation takes place, some of that water will infiltrate the soil. So that will be obviously from the abiotic to abiotic again, because it's from the atmosphere and then into the soil. Then some of that water will be taken up by plants. So now the biotic is going to be involved. Then the animals as well will drink that water. So again, now there's an interaction of the biotic part again, where the water cycle within that particular biome is concerned. Now, what happens to that water then? Once it gets into the soil, some of it is going to be evaporated and will go back into the atmosphere. And then the one that was taken in by plants is going to be released back into the atmosphere as well in the form of transpiration. And then we know that where the animals are concerned, they will be respiring, and therefore that respiration is going to give off some of that water into the atmosphere. And it's not just respiration, but we are also talking about perspiration. So obviously, when the body has worked fairly hard, then it's going to perspire. It's going to, and part of that perspiration is given off through sweat, for example. So that again will release that water vapor back into the atmosphere, water back into the atmosphere. So again, we can see that within the water cycle, there are also interactions between the biotic and the abiotic parts of that water cycle within a biome. All right, so let's do a very quick recap then. What have we talked about this morning? We have talked about the interaction between biotic and abiotic factors within biomes. And we started off by talking about what biotic and biotic means. And the biotic obviously is the living part of the ecosystem or of biomes. And then the abiotic is the non-living part, and that there are interactions between those biotic and abiotic factors, and that those interactions then lead to the sustainability of those particular biomes, and they also do help the earth to function as it should do. Like we saw, for example, that the atmosphere, the temperature in the atmosphere is maintained or kept in balance by that interaction, and that also the composition of the atmosphere as well is also kept in balance by that interaction. All right. Thank you very much for joining me on this Drive to School chat and on this journey towards excellent exam results. If there is a topic that you'd like us to discuss on the way to school, please do let me know in the comment section below, and we shall be sure to discuss it one of these fine mornings on the way to school. All the best, and see you again soon. Bye-bye.